A marvellous afternoon once again at the Sydney Football Stadium. A very good crowd here, high expectations, waiting for the teams that ran second and third after the premiership rounds in St George and Illawarra.
And here they come, the Steelers, led out by Dean Skiffeletti, hoping to repeat the semi-final dose that they handed down to St George here a fortnight ago. Riolo is still at the fullback position, Wishart and McIndoe the wings, Rodwell, McGregor the centres, Simon Neal the halves, Cross at the back of the scrum, Pinchinelli Dunn second row, Teitzel, Waddell front row, and Skiffeletti leads the side in the number 9 jumper. And so St George led down the tunnel there by Michael Beattie, the man that Tony Ray and the Chief Executive Jeff Carr were talking about a few moments ago. They know what they did wrong in the semi-final. They'll be out there today to adjust the wrong and probably play the way they did against Newcastle. Intensity in defence, trying to block them out. Potter at fullback, Walford and Heron wings, Coyne, Beattie centres, Peter Coyne at 5'8", Goldthorpe the run-on number 7, Hardy at lock, Goulet, Barnhill second, Tierney and Priddle up in the front row, and Collins is the hooker. Greg McCallum is obviously the front runner for the job here next Sunday afternoon. He needs a good one though in this match to hold Graham Annesley out of the plum job on grand final day. Illawarra then running from left to right, and John Simon gets this sudden death final underway. Potter it is getting the first touch, beating the tackle of Waddell, and he's pulled down and tackled up there by Teitzel.
I'm looking forward to see who gets the best start here. Of course, when they met in that minor semi-final, St George got away courtesy of a Wayne Collins charge down kick to score the first points. Illawarra started like a house on fire last week against Brisbane. Came back to the field after 20 minutes. This first 20, very important.
Very good defence by the Steelers there on Tierney. Collins with a short ball. Priddle crosses the 22, beats the first line of defence and reaches 32. Collins away for Goldthorpe. Now to Peter Coyne onto the right boot. Ball bouncing down towards the quarterway line. Riolo picked up and driven back there by Goldthorpe. Neal a dummy half. Wishart folding in from his wing. Plenty of sting in the opening tackles. Waddell. Hard yards made by the front row forward.
There's a lot of sting in the tackles, but you've got to make sure that your enthusiasm doesn't override your technique. We've seen both Teitzel and Waddell come up with missed tackles because they've tried to take the man out. You've really just got to wrap the ball up, especially in these early periods. You don't want to concede early points.
Now it's Teitzel. Midway between 22 and halfway. 5 tackles gone against the Illawarra Steelers as they look for the boot now of John Cross. Little question mark on the tackle, was it late? McCallum takes a look at both touch judges to see that they felt that it was okay.
Well, I thought he was hit late, John Cross. He makes the kick and Beattie came flying in like Superman and dead set knocked him down, and Cross is still down in back play getting some attention, sprinting back into position now.
Well, he was a late Superman, he was a high one as well.
Hardy plays the ball just beyond his own quarter. Goldthorpe with a short pass for Tierney. Collins into acting half. Goldthorpe, this is Barnhill.
Already Peter St George showing a willingness to give this ball some air, working a lot off the halfback and Goldthorpe, changing the point of attack.
Well, I guess that's why Goldthorpe is there. They probably tend to run the football more with him in the number 7 than Ivan Henjak, who gets into dummy half and directs play. As Wishart again beats the first defender, takes the ball to midfield. I think both teams will look to move the ball around. They'll look to score points and get their defence right, but there is plenty of attacking skills on both of these football teams out there this afternoon.
Waddell does well. Neal backs up, and Illawarra are now about 5 metres into St George's area. Dummy half Skiffeletti, blindside play for Teitzel. Midway, 22 halfway, St George's end of the ground. Away now for Skiffeletti, and on it goes for Simon. McGregor tries to get between them, almost succeeds in doing so. 5 tackles gone now for the Steelers. They look to the blind side. Pinchinelli puts the grubbing kick down the ground, and Potter comes away off his own line. Very heavy tackling out there. Neil was low, Wishart was over the top. Heron goes away. Waddell is there to meet him. Collins. Barnhill chopping back in towards the play the ball area. They're on their own 22, St George. Goulet working in close to the ruck. Collins again. They come back to the blind and Tierney is there. Pulled down by Teitzel over the top and Waddell underneath.
He's had a marvellous final series so far, the captain for Illawarra. Dean Skifflety's a charge down there, a lucky rebound there for St George. Michael Neal got his hand to the ball, Potter's picked it up, tries to regather. Finally wrapped up by Teitzel. I was talking about Skifflety, really has done a lot of work out there in these opening minutes as St George continue to make some cracks in this Illawarra defence.
Mark Coyne making good yards for the Dragons. Collins for Goldthorpe now for Hardy out wide. Wrestling with John Cross and Bill Dunn. St George on the attack. 32 metres out from the line. Collins again. Barnhill on a big blind. Dunn coming over the top of John Simon. Collins, Goldthorpe coming right across the ground. Intercept taken by Teitzel. Good hands for a front row forward. Talking of front rowers, let's go to the sidelines to Blocker.
Well, it's obvious that St George think Illawarra are a bit weak up the middle. They're working very well from marker, but St George are taking on right in the middle of the ruck.
McGregor now. 7 metres short of the halfway mark. Waddell. He's been involved in nearly every set of 6 as far as hit-ups are concerned. Simon to play it. Neil is the acting half in 7. Bill Dunn in the headgear.
I thought Simon needed to pass the ball there, Ray. He beat the first defender, caught them by surprise, St George. They thought the ball had been wrapped up. As Skifflety scoots out of dummy half, picks up Teitzel back on the inside. Illawarra now keeping the ball alive.
Simon put down by Collins. Skifflety for Neil. Kicks for the outside men. Rodwell is going down the ground with McIndoe, but Potter, he wins the race. Oh, a good effort by both players. McIndoe and Potter. Toe to head, Walford might be trapped here. Walford's in trouble. Michael Neal can't get him. John Simon has a go, and it's a line drop out for the Saints.
Well, good work there from the Illawarra side. They got the boot to the ball. We do see a lot of penalties awarded in Winfield Cup football for this, but there was nothing wrong with that. He wasn't able to tackle player. I was critical of Ricky Walford for his chase back on the kick. I thought he left it all for Michael Potter, but Potter had got a bad bounce and Walford didn't show a lot of intensity getting back, and he was finally wrapped up with John Simon coming through.
0-0 after 6 minutes then. Kick taken on the mark by Simon and Cross goes back.
Well, they look good in Illawarra with this ball. They're giving it some air as well, turning the ball back inside on occasions, and they're catching the St George defence napping. St George's defence at this stage not moving up quick enough for mine.
Pinchinelli. Skifflety. Neil runs the angle back to the blind. Little gap presented itself there, but shut down by Hardy. Or Priddle it was. Now Skifflety. Simon. Short ball for Teitzel. Stands and gets it away for Waddell. He goes in one side, comes out the other, gallops for the try line, but he's held up. Waddell to play it. Simon, Teitzel, Pinchinelli, Wishart. Oh, a try has been bombed here.
Well, they've done everything but score there. I don't know how Waddell caught the ball in the first place, and then Neil Tierney did a great job. Here we see tremendous work from Pinchinelli. If Wishart catches that, he scores in the corner.
Scoreline 0-0 after 7.
They're the kind of opportunities that you hope don't come back to haunt you. Walt Wishart took his eye off the ball there. He'd have had the speed and the size to score in the corner. Mark Coyne trying to work it out 12 metres from his own line. The 2 opportunities there for the Steelers, but they've got no points on the board.
Haven't they started well, Sterlo and Blocker, the 2 front rowers for the Steelers in Waddell and Teitzel, both rejects from other clubs. Teitzel from West and Waddell from Penrith. They're going terrific.
Well, they played very well out there. Waddell came up with an early missed tackle, but that was just through over-enthusiasm. And as I said, I don't know how he caught that football that was offloaded by Teitzel. And then it was only Neil Tierney's strength that was able to keep him. As Walford was into open spaces too if he could have held that one. The face pass put him clear, down it went.
We're going to be in for an exciting afternoon, so it seems. Both teams are prepared to put the ball through the hands. Sideline comments, Steve Roach.
Well, both the Illawarra front rows have started off very well, but it's the first two passes when Illawarra opt to spread the ball wide that have got to be fast and flat. They're running with the ball too much.
Simon tries to split them. John Cross stands and offloads for Skiffaletti. 12 more metres for the Illawarra side. Plenty of go forward in the Illawarra unit at the moment. Simon around the back for Neil. McGregor puts on the step, turns it back, finds Michael Beattie for St George.
Well, last week Michael Beattie was replaced early in the second half for missing a couple of tackles. He has got a bad ankle, but there McGregor stood him up pointlessly and made a goose of him, but luckily Beattie came back and got the ball.
9 minutes gone and no score in the preliminary final.
And
Sudden death rugby league.
That's a better run there from Teeny, not worrying about passing the ball, just putting the head down, and away he went.
Barnhill out wider. No markers here for the Illawarra side. Goldthorpe punching the ball down into the corner. Riolo carries it back. Gets around one, taken by the second.
Not a great kick there by Goldthorpe because there were no bodies out there, no St George players, only Walford. He was lucky he grabbed hold of Riolo because he looked like he was going to scoot away.
It actually was Michael Beattie coming in, Fatty, that saved the day for them. He came up with a missed tackle on this side of the field, but came up with an important one there. Riolo, as we've said plenty of times this year, got tremendous pace.
Wishart playing the ball. Teitzel. 32 metres out from their own line. 18-16, the Steelers beat St George 2 weeks ago. This is the last now. Simon comes off the outside edge. Heron is able to take it. McGregor makes the tackle. Potter. Banged down by Waddell and Skiffaletti. Collins away for Priddle. Goldthorpe. Hardy. Now Goldthorpe. He's on the run around with his 5/8 Peter Coyne. Coyne opting to go himself back inside. Goldthorpe looks for the line. The ball bounces up okay for Riolo. Pushed back by the St George defence. Neil had to show good hands to take it. Rodwell forced back to his 10-metre line by Hardy. Neil finds Cross, pulled down by Barnhill. He was the centre of a couple of controversial moments last weekend, David Barnhill. Wishart scurries in from the right wing and takes it out about 7 or 8 metres. 48 tackles required by the Steelers, 41 by St George. Potter. Neil and Pinchinelli stop the fullback. 12 metres on his own side of the halfway. Goldthorpe away for Peter Coyne now.
Both kicking games haven't been that effective as yet, but one difference we've seen out there from Illawarra this weekend is they haven't gone to John Cross. It's been John Simon who's done the kicking. Skiffaletti kicked out of dummy half then. But in their last semi-final appearance, John Cross took the first half a dozen kicks, and he isn't taking that responsibility on. They've left it to John Simon. That might be a good thing.
Now McCallum is going to call out one of the Illawarra side.
Skiffaletti here for a swinging tackle coming over the top, Wishka, and it missed Tierney, and just as well it did.
Well, there it is again. Tierney's not aware of it, but he was certainly very fortunate to miss it. Saints get the penalty, 2 metres on their side of the halfway. Steve Roach.
I think Skiffaletti pretty lucky. If he'd hit him on the top there, he probably would have broke his arm.
Beattie now taking the kick for line. And the tap kick will be taken 30 metres away from the Illawarra line. Collins, Goldthorpe, Barnhill. Pincinelli and Cross combined to stop him. Play in the centre of the ground. Hardy works an angle with Beattie, but Beattie is wrapped up by Cross. Collins, Tierney stops and goes for a hit and spin play. Defence so far so good for Illawarra. Now Goulet injects himself into the blind side. Goldthorpe feigns to kick. Wider for Peter Coyne. But Illawarra tackling like men inspired at the moment on their own 22 line. Goldthorpe chancing the bomb. First use of the high ball. It came off the fingers of Priddle, I thought. Goulet puts it down. But referee McCallum goes back to the original breach that I called. It came, I thought, off the fingertips of Priddle.
Look, they were very fortunate, Illawarra. Nobody contested the football. They all thought somebody... Look at this. The ball just bounces free. If Priddle had caught that one on the full, he'd have nearly scored. Eventually, Riolo tried to bat it out over the back, but nobody went up for the football. Nobody looked at the football for the Steelers.
Has he touched that ball or not? I don't think he did. I think that's a St George try.
Well, the crowd not very happy with the ruling from McCallum. McIndoe plays it. Neil, Teitzel, wrapped up by Barnhill. Waddell. Cross. Kicking on the fourth tackle that time. Potter. Rodwell makes the tackle.
We've had 15 minutes in this first half, and even though there's no points on the scoreboard, this has been the most entertaining first 15 minutes of any of the semi-finals we've seen. Both teams really are. They haven't taken the safety-first approach. They're going for a win here. It's not as though they don't want to not lose the game. They are going out to try and be positive out there. A couple of mistakes. Both teams really playing entertaining football in the crowd and certainly enjoying that.
Priddle on the blind side, turning it back inside for Tierney. Got a good ball for Goldthorpe onto Goulet. 35 metres out from the line. 5 tackles gone. Now Peter Coyne puts in the chip. Well read though and pulled in by Michael Neal. Riolo. Done.
Ray, we've got an Illawarra player getting some attention out there. Craig Teitzel. A little bit of a problem out there. He's back into the fray now. The trainer leaving the field. They need him. He's had a very strong opening 15-20 minutes as they go wide once again. Rodwell takes the defence on, but met very nicely by Jeff Hardy, who drives him back a couple of metres. 5
tackles gone for the Steelers as it's played and gone away to Michael Neal. He puts in a kick that's fairly ordinary. Potter's able to come up with it and bring it back to the 40-metre line. Goldthorpe, Mark Coyne. Good defence by McGregor. Goulet. Walford, short ball. Goldthorpe runs into Schifoletti.
They really are showing a willingness to move the football, St George. As soon as the kick goes in, they set a line to go wide. Goulet getting involved, he is offloading. That's what Steve Roach was talking about earlier. One of the big pluses out there is the big men who have got ball skills. There's another man who has him. Peter Coyne picks up Goldthorpe.
Goldthorpe is injecting himself into the play very much in this game. He's scheming, he's thinking, and he's working all the time. Peter Coyne puts it in the air again. Oh, Riolo, magnificent!
Well, that was a great take by David Riolo, but again, Illawarra did not show any urgency to get back and help him. Now, if that, I think it was Priddle going through, if he catches it, there was not an Illawarra player within 10 metres. He scores under the post. When they put this kick up, they've got to get back and help him.
Now, away from Neal. Teitzel stands and looks to get the ball around the corner. Dived on by Rodwell. 2 tackles left on this set. Pinchinelli right on the halfway line. Simon driving it low. Potter's there to bring it back.
Well, it wasn't a great chase there as Michael Potter gets hit high by Michael Neal. Both Brett Rodwell and Rod Wishart thought that they were going to run the football on the last tackle. Simon decided to drive it in low. And there we saw once again St George looking to throw the football wide from the kick.
Yeah, from their kick returns, they are looking to throw that ball wide, but Peter, they're not getting enough bodies in the line. They get a couple more men out there on that first tackle, they could create some problems. Teeny's having a great game as well. He's offloading at will once he hits the line.
Barnhill now. Away from Collins for Peter Coyne. Priddle gets a short pass out. Hardy tries to turn it round the corner for Walford. Touched in flight by Illawarra. 6 more tackles for St George.
Needed one more player there, Saints. There was a big gaping hole.
Collins wrapped up by Michael Neal. He nullifies the tackle count again. Floating pass out for Goulet. Goulet to the 32-metre line. Chiming in Potter. Tierney plays his part. Beattie takes it to the quarter-way line. St George on the attack now. No points on the board. 20 minutes gone. Barnhill, hit and spin play. Goulet looks to do the same, but he's pulled down 15 away from the line. Collins a dummy half. Throws the dummy blind side. Goldthorpe on the open side. Held by Skiffeletti, 12 metres out from the line, right in front of the uprights. Collins went to sleep at dummy half. Peter Coyne inside. Hardy takes it back to the 10-metre line. 5 tackles gone now for the Saints. Collins works the blind. They stack the personnel on the blind side. Oh, Riolo does well again. That's a magnificent save by the diminutive fullback for Illawarra.
Not the first time he's been called upon, and this was a lovely little kick. It was going to bounce into the hands of Goulet, but there's Riolo coming flying in, got great position. He's taken the high ball now, he's taken one along the ground, and he saved a try again on that occasion.
Sidelines with Blocker Roach.
Illawarra committing the capital sin. You must put the St George big men on the ground. They're just being allowed to stand in tackles and offload willy-nilly.
We've just gone past the 20-minute marker and still no score on the board in the sudden death final.
And Saints look dangerous, don't they, when Mick Beattie hits that line straight and hard. He's one of the best in the game at doing that. And when he does it, all he needs is a couple more men with him. And St George, I think they'll score shortly.
Potter carries the line drop at back over the halfway line. Bill Dunn is the tackler. Skiffeletti coming in late over the top. Walford will probably go for a run. Able to unload for Goldthorpe. Let's go back to the sideline. Steve Roach.
Yeah, Brad Mackay coming on for David Barnhill, who had an impressive first 20 minutes.
Tierney offloads, but it's a forward pass.
And it was only a touch forward, and Brad Mackay would have scored with his first touch of the football. That's the man who replaced Barnhill. Wasn't much in this one at all. And that's what Steve again was talking about, the big men offloading.
Well, did that go forward? I don't know. It's hard to tell, isn't it? McCallum wasn't in the greatest position, but Saints have won one against the feed. Another set of 6.
They work the blind side. Ian Heron takes it to the quarter-way line. Wishart makes the tackle with Bill Dunn. Mackay dummy half. Now it's Tierney. He's the man that's causing most of the problems for Illawarra.
They've got big numbers out wide. Here's Waddell coming in. Fortunately, Rodwell has gone out there. It's been nullified to an extent. Hardy up the middle.
Now Goulet is way out wide. Out towards outside centre is Goulet. Collins. Goldthorpe goes himself. Comes back to the blind side. On the bounce, taken by Mark Coyne. Pulled down 12 metres from the line. Saints dealing out all the pressure at the moment. This is the last tackle. They put it through the hands. Coyne finds Goulet. Then to Coyne. It goes to ground. Nakando had a chance there for the Steelers. No score after 22. Scrum packing just outside the Illawarra 22. Won by the Dragons. Peter Coyne, now his brother Mark. beat McGregor but didn't beat Rodwell. Peter Coyne is the dummy half. They put on a play towards the blind side. Big Priddle. His pass inside to Beattie. Now Mackay. Oh, Goldthorpe. Bang down to the ground. Wide is Tierney. Potter now. Collins. St. George building enormous pressure. Mackay. Collins. Scampers from dummy half. Hardy away for Walford. Walford puts it down for a 4-pointer. First points of the preliminary final go to the Dragons.
And deservedly so. They've been maintaining a lot of pressure down there. Illawarra had been able to hold them out for many minutes now, but it was a quick play of the ball and well-read in attack there from the dummy half who scooted out. Saw that he had a 3-on-2 overlap. There's Wayne Collins. He just takes advantage of that, gives it to Hardy. He draws McIndoe, and a very simple one to Ricky Walford. That's been coming for a while.
Yeah, they've been playing well, St. George, giving this ball plenty of air and deserving the try. But Steve Waddell was the man who was slow up from the play the ball after making the tackle. That created the 3-on-2 situation, and McIndoe had to go in. Walford, he won't score an easy one all year, and Saints 4 lead Illawarra 0.
9 tries for the year now for Ricky Walford. Well, they were put under extreme pressure, these boys from Illawarra. Something had to give. Craig Izzard is on there now for them. Steve Roach.
Yeah, I was just going to make that change. Craig Izzard on for Craig Teasdale, but one bloke I'd like to give a rap to is Jeff Hardy. He's been playing very well, cutting down Illawarra's attack, and also he got the ball then on a 3-on-2 situation and set that try up for the St. George Dragons.
Just under 15 minutes of the first half remaining. Ian Heron right out on the sideline. 25 metres out. 96 points for the season. Big kick for him. That's what he's got. There it goes. Doesn't look too bad. Grazes the outside edge of the upright. No change in score. St. George 4, Illawarra 0. Just looking at that total tackle count there, Paul Vorton. Mammoth tackle count for Illawarra.
Well, Illawarra's had to make 104 as against St. George's 64. Most of them would have been in the last 5 minutes, where Saints had something like 3 or 4 sets of 6 against the Steelers. They did well to hang on for as long as they did, Illawarra, but in the end, too much ball for St. George, and they finished it off well.
Potter brings back the resumption of play. Walford. 25 out from his own line. Goldthorpe. That's Mark Coy. Or is it Brad Mackay? It was Mackay. Tierney running with a lot of vigour, a lot of purpose. Plenty of quality in his game today, Tierney. Goldthorpe driven back by John Simon's tackle. They're 35 metres out from their own line on 5. Peter Coyne. Kick going down to bounce on the 22 favourably for Riola. '27th minute and 4-0 in favour of St. George. Wishart. There's that tackle count climbing all the time. 109 for Illawarra, 64 for St. George. Rodwell.
Not only told in that try being scored, but it may well come back late in the game. The fatigue starts to set in when you've had to do a lot of tackles in the first half. When the pressure's really applied late in the semi-final, that's when you can really feel the pinch. But this might be what Illawarra needs, the injection of someone like Craig Izzard. He took a great 15 metres there as McCallum signals the last, and they decide to go wide to Michael Neal, who puts the ball in behind Walford and finds touch.
Scrum will go down about 7 metres away from the St. George line. Good kick by Michael Neal, following an equally good run by Craig Izzard. Crowd probably up around the high 30s. Basking in the Sydney sunshine today. Scrum packing. Goldthorpe to serve it. 3-1 the scrums to the Saints. Walford comes off his right wing, takes the first pass. Brad Mackay being used mostly as an interchange player.
And he's a man on a mission today. Ray's been saying in the papers how disappointed he has been to be dropped out of the St George side the last couple of weeks. Jeff Hardy having been preferred to him. And he is a current Australian player, so he's looking for a big game today.
Collins made some good yards. Goulet capitalises on that.
And he capitalised because he got the quick play of the ball. They had 3 in a row there, and that enabled them to pick up another 20 easy metres. Goldthorpe will find touch again, and that's a magnificent set of 6 by the Saints. They made no mistakes coming out. They played the ball quickly. They got momentum, and it finished with a kick, finding touch 5 metres from the opposition's try line.
Nearly all too easy, wasn't it? The Illawarra's defence, none of it started to crumble, but the effort might be telling on them. If St George continue to control this ball like they have all match, then they could assert their authority very soon.
Michael Neal puts it in. Penalty goes to Illawarra. St George with more than the allowable number of backs. In other words, what the referee is saying, that the lock broke from the scrum too early. Simon finding the line. 4-0 in favour of St George. A try to Ricky Walford. Waddell able to make easy yards there. He almost ran the full 10 metres before he found the defence. Done. Simon. Cross. Tierney wraps him up right on the halfway line. From Skiffaletti now. Riolo at first receiver. Neal at second. McGregor at third. Saints' defence remains intense. 5 tackles gone. Neal puts it between Potter and Walford. Ball bouncing down into the end goal. Potter gets back into the field of play with no pressure. Walford.
The crowd thought that was an unusual play, but I like the show of confidence. If Ricky Walford had been able to beat one man, there was a lot of open space there. It wasn't a particularly good chase by the Illawarra team. Michael Potter showed a lot of confidence in his wingman, and I think that's showing in the team overall.
Here's Brad Mackay. Goldthorpe. Priddle. Priddle trying to turn it back inside for Heron. Goldthorpe clearing kick off his own quarterway line. And Riolo comes off his own. Walford down the ground quickly. Riolo looks for McIndoe over on the flank. 10 metres short of the halfway mark. Neal. McIndoe on the run around. .4-0 in favour of the Saints. John Cross pulled down right on the halfway mark. Izzard. Simon. Neal. Banged into the ground by Hardy. 5 gone for the Steelers. Skiffaletti puts in the grubbing kick and finds the line. About 15 metres away from St George's goal line. St George leading 4-0 after 32. Scrum forming as we go sidelines. Steve Roach.
Yeah, the thing that I like about this St George forward pack is they're sharing the workload. They're all willing to get in and run with the football, and that's a good sign for St George.
Long ball required from Goldthorpe to find Potter. George now rucking it away from their own 22 line.
I don't know about the tactics of kicking for touch. We saw Illawarra again decide to find touch. They found it 20 metres out in the opposition try line, which I know we have seen one win against the feed, but it is very rare. I'd rather see the ball go up in there, put some pressure on the opposition, get them to make a decision. It worked for St George early on. They nearly ran in a try through the high kick, and I think that Illawarra, if they get down anywhere near that 22, have to come up with the same kind of play.
Yolo. George's chase on the kick is very good. McIndoe taken by his opposite number, Walford. It's been a real backs to the wall struggle for the Steelers in the first half. And George have had a mountain of possession. Waddell.
As I mentioned earlier, Ray, you wonder what effect it has when you miss an opportunity. By rights, I thought Rod Wishart probably should have scored in the corner. And you get that confidence going and that momentum going. Great ball from Izzard to McGregor. Here's a chance.
Over the halfway. Potter was able to slow him down. Pulled down by Priddle. 5 tackles gone. Neal. Long ball for Pincinelli. Cross to the 22. Inside for Rodwell.
And Potter's made another one. What about that great fullback play on the last? They decided to run at the Steelers, and Mick Potter had made one tackle here and covered. Great play, Mick Potter.
Walford struggling his way outside the 22. Goulet. 5 minutes from the half-time break. Goldthorpe away, wide for Tierney. Look at this Tierney. Very strong man. Always takes 2 and 3 to bring him down. Hardy. Priddle. 2 tackles remaining for St George. Collins. That's the halfway line. Goldthorpe not looking for the touchline. Riolo 15 out from his own line. Pulled down just inside the quarter. Wishart for Neal. Rodwell wide. Peter Coyne came up very quickly. Wishart from dummy half. Pincinelli through one, out to the 32-metre line. Schiavoletti for Neal. Short ball done. Oh, jolting tackle. McIndoe it was on the end of it. Neal chips for himself. Saints try to clean up, and Collins does that.
Here we see the little kick over the top. Michael Neal tried to grab it out of the air, and Wayne Collins deemed to have knocked it back. Comes up with possession just on the halfway line. 3.5 minutes left to go. I'd love to run in some more points late in this first half. Big call now for Illawarra. They must keep their line intact.
Priddle playing it on the halfway mark. Heron pulled down by Dunn, and Wishart came in on a kamikaze mission. Goldthorpe. Peter Coyne. Goulet out wide. Then slides the pass to Hardy. He does well too. Potter to play it. Goulet. Goldthorpe goes for the drop goal, but it'll be a mile wide and short. Riolo comes back. Plenty of confidence in the St George performance. Michael Neal.
Well, they're running hard, these St George forwards, but showing a lot of skill as well. Many offloads by players like Hardy and Goulet and Tierney, and with the quick men in support, Potter and Peter Coyne, Mark Coyne, they're looking very dangerous, St George.
They did set up some kind of authority in the middle of the ruck early on, Paul, and now they're taking advantage on the fringe of the rucks.
McGregor out wide. You can almost see the St George defence take on an air of urgency when the ball reaches the Illawarra centres. They haven't really given McGregor and Rodwell too many opportunities. Here's Illawarra coughing up possession. St George, I I believe will have it. They have. It was a turnover anyway. Goldthorpe, 25 metres out from the line.
And a big minute and a half coming up. They'll have the last set of 6 in this first 40 minutes.
Peter Coyne, Tierney, straight at them, just inside the 22. Collins, Goldthorpe, Coyne. Coyne has the ball jolted from his grasp. Neil dives on it for the Steelers.
Smart ball player, Peter Coyne, but he out-tricked himself then, out-tricked everyone, threw a million dummies and then just lost the pill.
Well, here it is again. He did in fact try to get it away to Goulet, but he waited to throw the ball until he was under pressure. He needn't have waited that long. The defence line was up on him anyway. Schiavoletti. Just 1 minute of time remaining in the first half. McIndoe. These Illawarra wingers are probably going to have to do more work than they have done, particularly McIndoe. The forwards are probably feeling the strain and the pressure of the defence that has been asked of them. Potter's had a splendid game for St George. Heron just outside his own 22 line. It should be the last set of 6 before half-time. Walford put down 32 metres out. Collins. Brad Mackay. Saints quite happy just to play out this last couple of seconds. The siren in the background, and Riolo lets it go over the sideline. So that's the end of the first 40 minutes. Most entertaining first half. St George, they scored the only points, a try for Ricky Walford after the Dragons had built enormous pressure on Illawarra. And at the break, St George lead by 4 points to 0. We'll take a break and be back with more in just a moment.
Four points to 0 in favour of St George in this final over the Illawarra team. The only try scorer, Ricky Walford.
So Peter Coyne starts the second half. Craig Izzard, the first of the Illawarra players, called on to bring it back. And they'll be looking to get more space for Rodwell and McGregor and the wingers in the second half. And talking of that, what did the coaches have coming into it? Steve Roach.
Well, in the Illawarra room, there's only one change. Craig Teachell has come back on for Billy Dunn. Graham Murray wanted his players to make sure he puts the St George forwards on the ground and try and lay them on their back so they've got a bit more time to get in defence. Also, he'd like to see his players support the ball carrier a bit more. He was a bit unhappy with their kicking game and the slowness that they play the ball. But in the St George room, he was very happy, Brian Smith, with their kicking game. He also would like to see more pressure put on David Riolo and more support for the ball carrier and quick play the balls.
Michael Potter now. This is Mark Coyne coming away from dummy half, shrugging off the first, but John Cross wraps him up. About 15 metres on his own side of halfway. Triddle. Illawarra in their first preliminary final. St George, they've won 15 grand finals. Collins, not too far short of St George's best in the first half. Goldthorpe, Peter Coyne, off the left foot, charged down by Illawarra, picked up by Heron. 5 metres into Illawarra's area.
That's been ruled a 6 again for the St George team. So they've started the second half particularly well. They've had all the possession once again in this opening 2 minutes. And with another 4 tackles left to go, they'll be able to put up a kick or have a good shot at this Illawarra team very early in the second half.
Tierney plays it. Collins for Goldthorpe. Now Priddle. Nothing happening there for St George at the moment. They have worked it back towards the centre of the ground. Now from the open side to the blind goes Mackay. 22 metres out, 5 tackles gone. Goldthorpe decides to push it wider to Coyne. He puts it in the air. They try out Riolo. Oh, he lost it. It came back to him off the posts.
Well, another great take from David Riolo in the end, but have a look at this one. The post was a real menace there. First it was his enemy, then it was his friend. It was the only reason the ball came back into his hands.
I thought he took it in the field of play, though, and I thought the St George players forced him into the in-goal area, but McCallum has ruled that he took it in that in-goal area. That's why they're 25 metres out from their own line with the ball.
Hill playing it. Neil. McGregor. Have a look at this, though. Illawarra with the ball, and St George have got 4 on 3. Riolo. Skiffaletti. Rolled backwards by Goulet. Cross. Teitzel. Simon looking for the alternate kicker, then able to make about 10 metres before he kicked himself. Potter plays at the ball. That puts everybody onside. A good chase down the ground by the Illawarra backs. Walford is put down on the second tackle on his own 22. Mackay. Steve Roach.
I don't know if Fatty or Sterlo will agree to me. One thing when Illawarra have got the football, they're zigzagging too much. When you play a big side, you've got to keep playing on the keep going, so you tire the big forwards out.
Well, this is what Illawarra are looking for. The mistake down the other end, the ball just pops out there from Brad Mackay. Couldn't slip a ball to Heron, who was on the fly. Big scrum advantage there to St George 5-1. But this is an important one. Illawarra with the football, tackled 30 metres out. John Simon, centre field.
Neil working it back to the right. Cross. Oh, the pass to Skiffaletti. Look forward. Riolo slips out of a tackle from Goulet. He's brought down 22 metres out from the line. Wishart. Neil. Waddell.
They need to go back to the blind side here, get set up. Both the centres for St George are caught on the one side.
Neil, he's read that play. Folded back towards the blind. Teitzel for Izzard. Izzard for Rodwell. It's forward. The crowd went up, but unnecessarily.
Well, I think that was a good call, Craig Izzard's final pass. This was good work from Teitzel. Picked up Izzard, gets a desperation pass away. The referee will look at him. He's in perfect position. Hard to argue with it. And St George get the scrum feed.
Coyne. McGregor and Rodwell putting the St George 5/8 down, 15 out from his own line. Walford comes away from dummy half, crawls over the 22-metre line.
I really think Greg McCallum's had a marvellous match out there to the extent he's allowed play to flow. When there's been some niggly stuff around the dummy half area, people looking to milk a penalty, he's told them to get up and get on with it. And I think that's been marvellous. It's really helped this game out there to flow and be entertaining.
Tierney proving a problem for the Illawarra side. Collins the dummy half again. Goldthorpe, should I say Coyne, putting it down for Riolo. The bounce is bad for David Riolo. He falls over. That gave St George a chance to come even further down the ground to set up the defensive cordon. Wishart bumps away from 2. Beattie wraps him up. Skiffaletti. Pinchinelli. Right on the 32-metre line. Now Neil. Coming from right to left, linking up with Izzard. Izzard throws the dummy to Rodwell. Takes it out at the 40-metre line. 4-0 in favour of St George. A try in the first half, scored by Ricky Walford. Waddell. This is the last. Captain Skiffaletti, charged down by St George. They recapture possession too, so... Well, no, it's come back to Illawarra. Well, I thought Collins had the ball. Izzard for Neil. Pinchinelli. John Cross. 2 metres into St George's area. Illawarra starting to get a little sniff of it now. Skiffaletti shrugs off one. 42 metres out from the line. Tierney has gone off for St George in jumper number 10. Neil, long ball. Teitzel stands, turns it. Simon on the outside. Midway 22 halfway, and Illawarra trailing by 4. Teitzel again, his second hit up on this set of 6. 27 metres out, tackle number 5. Neil again on a big blind. Izzard, short ball for Rodwell. Can he unload? Wrapped up by the St George defence.
It seemed a very quick set of 6 there. The restart was counted again when St George struck out in the play the ball. And it was a pretty ineffective set of 6 by the Illawarra team.
Well, they're going too much one out still. You know, they're hitting a one forward up, then another forward up without any support whatsoever. And St George's defence, to their credit, are putting the Steelers on the deck, as opposed to when St George got the ball, they're being let stand in tackles.
Barnhill crosses the halfway mark. Goulet. Collins. Goldthorpe running across, puts on a play with Peter Coyne. He slides between Waddell and Teitzel, takes it to the 32. Knocked down by John Cross, and St George have come back with 6 more tackles. Here's a chance for the Dragons now. Already they lead by 4 points to 0. And we've had 9 minutes of the second half as Priddle goes ahead. The pass to Mackay I thought was forward. McCallum disagrees with me. 22 metres out from the Illawarra line. Hardy. Collins looking for which way to go. They pack the blind side. Goulet pulled down 12 metres out. St George an opportunity to put Illawarra away right here. Be a long way back for the Steelers if St George score next. Beatty out for Walford, goes for the corner. Walford pulled down, put into touch.
Yes, an opportunity there for the Saints once again, but what a magnificent pass from Michael Beatty. A beautiful floating pass as he was going to ground, sensational. And Walford, there was more cover there than anything though. There was about 8 of them coming over, well 2, and they put him into touch.
Neil using McIndoe as the first receiver. Steve Roach.
Yeah, David Welsh has replaced Craig Teitzel, and also a bit of news on Neil Tierney. He's got an injured left ankle.
And that's bad luck for Tierney because he's been one of St George's outstanding players, and I think if you ask the Illawarra side as a whole who's given you the most trouble, they'd probably say Tierney. Skiffaletti makes good yards, 15 of them.
I think what we've just seen lately is how important it is to get a flow of possession. You mentioned earlier, Ray, that Illawarra's just starting to get that little sniff out there. That was because they had 2 sets of 6 in a row. We've just seen St George have that as well, and they've nearly run in another try down Walford's wing. So if you can get 2 or 3 sets of tackles in this competition, you are going to score points.
Neil dropping it onto the boot and finding the line right on the St George 22. 4 points to 0 after 50 minutes of the preliminary final. Saw a pass there from Michael Neal, which I might explain a little bit more fully. He passed it backwards and then it bounced off its point and went forward. That does not constitute a forward pass. Some people concern themselves with that. This scrum is starting to erupt. He said. Not careful, I'll send Fatty down there. You saw him last night in the big match. Oh, gee, you played strong.
Carved him up, Ray.
Oh,
still got it.
Very modest too. Long ball now. Potter. 22 metres out from his own line.
He's got the greatest set of stud marks up the middle of his chest you've ever seen from people running over the top of him.
That wouldn't be from you.
Collins. Triddle. Oh, that's a good tackle by Waddell. Then there was a swinging arm in the tackle as he tried to clean it up.
And a penalty. Penalty to St George, and Priddle gives himself a round of applause. There's a good hit there by Waddell, and a swinging arm in the tackle as well that missed. And then from here, the hand in the play of the ball by Skiffaletti, who's their captain. That's a bad mistake, really. St George under pressure now, 30 metres out from their line, struggling to get out of there, and to give away another penalty as the captain is not on.
Michael Beatty taking the touch finder. Have to be taken about 9 metres into Illawarra's area. 4-0. St George leading. Barnhill. Schifoletti and Pincinelli making the tackle. McCallum warns Schifoletti. Just a warning on the run. There was nothing in it really. Hardy is pulled down now. Here it is again. Oh, gee,
Nothing in it. It's the same as the other one.
Trust you to give me up. Beatty now, 30 metres out from the line. St George, they're starting to warm to the task. Goldthorpe holds it back. Inside ball from Coyne, finding Priddle.
They're working well for field position now, St George. They hit 3 one way, then back to the big open spaces of the other side, and now they're searching for a gap up the middle. There's a knock on there, though.
Well, it's come down to Illawarra, so the advantage rule applies. Goulet tried to squeeze the pass. Schifoletti away for McGregor. McGregor out for Wishart. Heron pulls him down. That's a penalty against Heron. Referee McCallum says, you've made the tackle, son. There's no need to make it again. Get back your 10.
A little bit of feeling starting to come into the game out there now. We saw one scrum nearly erupt. And here's Wishart taking Heron on. Just goes overboard with this one. No, that's silly play. You've cost your team possession of another couple of tackles and also position as well on the field.
Michael Neal pushing it wide for John Cross. Here's Walsh. David Walsh. Young and plenty of speed, plenty of size. Waddell. Oh, gee, he's been a good player for Illawarra this year, Steve Waddell. It's almost been the year of the cast-offs, hasn't it? Neal around the back for Riola. Wishart! Ooh, 38 metres out from the line. Neal. Simon. Push left is on. Pincinelli. Now, Izzard. Inside ball. McIndoe. Brushes from one. Neal's in the centre of the park. Did he drop it onto his boot? Walsh comes away with the ball.
Yeah, a little kick there and 6 to go.
Pincinelli now. Back to the centre of the park. They got a chance out wide. Rodwell gets it away for Wishart. Heron and Wishart. Wishart gets inside him. Loses the footing. 15 out from the line. Rodwell for Neal. Neal to the 10-metre line.
Back to blind, back to blind. There's no centre there. The wingers only just gone from mark where they've come the open.
Waddell. Inside ball for David Walsh. Stands and looks to pop the ball. St George have got it, I think.
Yes, one of those passes that didn't need to be thrown. It wasn't the last. They didn't have to keep it alive. Just pushed it too much. I said if they had to go back to blind, I thought that was the case. As Craig Izzard leaves the field, he had an impact out there while he was there. It's like he might be carrying a bit of an injury. It's Mackay takes a great catch. A slips catch almost in behind him. St George now looking to get out of trouble once again.
Just getting back to that rush of attack, though. I can't believe McIndoe kicking. I thought he had Michael Neal on his inside unmarked.
Well, we saw him do that in the game here earlier in the semi-finals, didn't we? When we thought that he could have beaten the man on the outside, but that wasn't last tackle either, just said Ray, and he had a man unmarked on the inside. It seemed a bad option to take once again.
Collins gets it back. Priddle, Goldthorpe, now Potter. Steve Roach.
Every time Illawarra ventured to spread the ball a bit wide, they've made some good breaks. They might do better to take a few up in the centre of the ruck and then decide to shift it.
David Riolo.
I also think that their inside backs have got to look to be a little bit creative for the two centres out there, McGregor and Rodwell. I think John Simon, again, I've talked all year about runarounds and that, but they're not really doing anything to open something up for them. Schifoletti picks up
Wishart! One to beat! Picks up Neal! Won't have the pace! Reaches the 22 and pulled down. Simon. Schifoletti. Simon again. 12 metres from the line. Schifoletti. Open side. McGregor. 8 metres out. 5 tackles gone. Will they go to the air? Pincinelli's with the ball. Floats it out. Oh, it's gone over the touchline.
That's a little bit of semi-final inexperience coming out in the Steelers now, not working for anything. The ball should have gone to the air, but instead it went into touch. Went to the right wing.
Went to the air, all right.
Yeah, went to the air. Straight into the first row. But Wishart's having a great game, isn't he, on the wing? And I think Alan McIndoe on this wing should take a leaf out of Wishart's book. Wishart looking to get involved whenever he can. McIndoe waiting for opportunities to come. They're not coming. He's got cobwebs hanging off him.
Paul, even if they didn't go for the bomb there, I thought just roll it in the in-goal area, get the ball back, have another shot at them. If you keep going at them, something's going to crack.
Matthew Elliott is the fresh player on. He's in possession of the ball right now. Last tackle. Galthorpe. David Riolo gets a good bounce on his own 22 line. Goulet's off for St George. Neil. Bill Dunn. Super game last weekend in a beaten side. But I agree with Paul Vorton's halftime comments. I got the feeling that Pinchinelli and Dunn hadn't done enough. John Cross finds a half gap. Pulled down on the 40-metre line. Neil. Walsh. Taken by Hardy. Stands in the tackle. Offloads for Pinchinelli. Rushes away now. From Mackay. Gets into open space. Well, for a bloke with a bad knee, he's not travelling all that badly. Michael Neal pulled down. 30 metres out from the line. The Steelers starting to roll it now. Schifoletti. Long ball. Rodwell. There's danger. McIndoe. Rakes it back. Into touch. St George feet and loose head. Scoreline 4-0 in favour of St George in the preliminary final.
This will be an Illawarra feed. Ball has been ruled to come off a St George player, so another opportunity for the Steelers.
Neil, Simon, McGregor. Now they're in the centre of the park. St George's forward still getting across into position, so they've got to go to the right. Riolo's with it, but there's got Illawarra's got no backs out there apart from Wishart. Neil. Put Simon through a gap. Simon's 10 metres out. Right in front of the sticks. Schifoletti. Michael Neal. Neil Pinchinelli. Short ball for McGregor. McGregor away for Rodwell. Now it's a forward pass. Another try denied for the Steelers.
Well, they've had no luck, the Steelers. That's what their second or third try disallowed. Beautiful pass, that one to McGregor into the gap. And this pass here's been ruled forward. I don't know. I don't think it looked too bad, Sterlo.
Well, again, you've got to put that in the trust of the referee because he's at the top of the right of screen there and he's in good position. Very hard. We're on a bad angle here. That's Tony Smith, the replacement player, on for Peter Coyne. But gee, you wouldn't, with the chances Illawarra have got and had, you wouldn't think they'd still be on zero.
19 minutes of the game to go. Smith on, Coyne off. St George. Well, they've withstood a couple of exciting attacking raids that Illawarra has put on them. But are we starting to see this game turn around? Elliott. Collins. Collins! Great run by the number 9. Put down and back into the arms of Schifoletti.
And the desperation pass. They made the big break, St George, with the desperation pass at the end of it. And it's gone to ground, and Illawarra again with the ball. It's an exciting match.
That's good stuff. Some tremendous rugby league skills being exhibited here. Rodwell. I think what's making the game so entertaining is the fact, as Peter pointed out earlier, they're both prepared to throw the ball about. Riolo. Pinchinelli. Billy Dunn. Simon. Neil. Face ball. McGregor. Illawarra's coach Graham Murray. Rodwell. Simon. Potter goes back to his own line. .15 out from his own line. Potter to play the ball. Walford coming away from dummy half. Pulled down by Rodwell on the 22 line almost.
And Michael Neal's got a pretty bad cork there from that tackle on Michael Potter. His head took him the top of the thigh. He's moved in the second line of defence now and trying to marshal his troops once again.
Collins. Barnhill. Barnhill looks around, finds Smith. Smith piled over the top there by the Illawarra tackle from John Simon. Elliott draws them on. That's a good tackle by Dunn. He cleaned Mackay up. Kick from Goldthorpe. Riolo there. Midway between the 22 and a halfway zone into the ground. Makes a big run. 15, 20, 25 metre run by David Riolo. Wishart. Neil. Simon. Walsh. 40 metres away from the St George line. Skiffaletti. Pincinelli. Is it starting to turn around, Pete?
Well, the back row are starting to work very well for Illawarra. They're starting to combine as they go wide. Here's McGregor. They've got numbers here. Just get it. No.
Oh, he can't get it to Wishart.
That come off a St George player or not?
Scoreline 4-0 in favour of the Saints. He's ordered that it's an Illawarra feed.
Yes, the St George hand got in the way there and pushed it over the sideline. And again, Illawarra, they're warming into this game now because they're getting some possession. Here's Wishart bringing the ball to centre field.
They'll keep coming left. Cross. 22 metres out from the line. Dummy half is Skiffaletti. Waddell turns it inside to Walsh. Walsh gets it back inside for Skiffaletti. Out to the right for Simon. Wide ball for Pincinelli. Pincinelli comes to Heron. Gives it to Wishart. Oh, tremendous tackle out there by Heron. Now Neil. Simon to the 10-metre line. Skiffaletti. Now from cross it goes to McGregor. Put down behind Waddell. Picked up by Walsh. 20 metres out from the line. Skiffaletti. Bill Dunn. Dunn standing. Lost the ball behind him. Play on, says McCallum. Walsh a dummy half, a horror pass. McGregor, he puts it into the end goal, and Potter is there to clean it up. Back in the field of play, I do point out.
The class boots of play there from McGregor to firstly pick the ball up. It went to the wrong man. He got the little kick in on the last, but Michael Potter got through and was able to keep in the field of play, and that was a magnificent effort. Really think that if there'd have been another set of 6, they'd have been doing well to hold on, St George.
Good to see Dunn and Pincinelli really coming into their own now. They're both skillful, hard-running players, and they're getting this Illawarra side going forward.
They've got to score soon, don't they? I think if it comes down to the last 10 or 15 or 10 minutes, I think St George can hold on. A lot of juice being burned up by Illawarra out there, and they're not getting a result.
Goldthorpe looking for the line. He won't find it. Riolo coming off his own quarter-way line. Gets around Walford.
That's really his bad wing play. You've got to, when you're in a chase situation, you've got to keep one person between the player and the sideline, and Walford just went into it too quick and too early.
McIndoe to play the ball right on the halfway mark. Waddell away for Neil. Walsh out wide. Pincinelli wider. Cross is out even wider again. The forwards forming the back line. Cross gives it back to Pincinelli. Pincinelli tackled 3 metres into St George's area. 4-0 in favour of the Saints. Illawarra having the better of the second half though. St George's defence has been superb. Skiffaletti. Neil. Turning it back to the right. Pincinelli. McGregor. McGregor gets it to Wishart. Wishart's away. No support. Scooped away to John Simon.
6 again. He hasn't seen it. John Simon has given the ball and kicked it. Wayne Collins, or is it Potter? Potter's picked it up, but the referee had signalled 6 again. John Simon did not realise.
Well, Mick Potter, what about Rod Wishart, one-on-one? A beautiful tackle. It was a try saver. And then he's taken the ball out another 15 metres.
Walford. I thought that might have been it. Wishart had one to beat. He's had an outstanding game today. Priddle. 35 out from their own line. Collins.
And Pincinelli is the man who's causing all sorts of problems for St George out wide, but I still don't think that the players around him are going to the defence enough and committing the player. St George sliding in defence. It was only Heron coming in off his wing there that allowed Wishart to the outside.
Henjak on the interchange bench has gone to the sidelines. Steve Roach.
I'll tell you what Neil Pinchinelli does do. He straightens the attack up to give his outside men a bit of room. One of the very only players in the Illawarra Steelers who can do that.
Bill Dunn puts a little step into his work. Right on the halfway mark, he'll play the ball. Schiavoletti takes a couple of paces from dummy half and turns it back for Pinchinelli. Fifth tackle gone now for the Steelers. 12 minutes of time remaining. Can St George hang on? Neil. Potter going across, but it'll beat him to the sideline. Or will it? Yes. Scrum will go down 5 metres out from St George's line.
Well, it's amazing to think, as we see another replacement, Brad Mackay going off and Ivan Henjak coming on, looking for his experience in this last 10 minutes. It's amazing with the opportunities and the amount of weight of possession and field position that Illawarra have enjoyed, but they haven't been able to cross the try line. St George have done a marvellous job. Unfortunately for Illawarra, that last pass has either gone forward or gone to ground.
St George with the ball. Peter Coyne pulled down. Good tackle, that by Paul McGregor. Potter. Henjak. 15 out from their own line. I don't know that they need to pass the ball around like that, though, inside their own 10-metre zone. Barnhill plays it. Smith, just outside his 22. Craig Izzard is coming back off the interchange bench. Collins turns it away for Goldthorpe. Pulled down by Cross. 32 metres out on the last tackle they are now. Elliott. Ball bouncing down towards the 22-metre line. Illawarra's into the ground. Riolo comes back. Riolo, he's brought the ball back a couple of times and done some marvellous things. Not so much that time. Here's Rodwell. 2 metres on their own side of the halfway. Schiavoletti finds Dunn. Dunn walks over the top of Henjak, bumps away from another, brushes from another. 7 or 8 metres into St George's area. Great game of rugby league, this one. Izzard. Midway 22, halfway. St George's into the ground. How much time have we spent in St George's area? Simon. 5 tackles gone for the Steelers. Neil. Oh, he knocks on. Priddle comes away for the Saints. He's on his own, though.
And this next set of 6 will be a big test for the Steelers. They've been pounding away in this St George quarter and half for all this second half, and now they're back in their own half. They've got to get their defence set, and this is a very important set of 6 for them.
Collins. Busy going by the St George hooker. Barnhill. 35 metres out from the line. Hardy working on a wide blindside. 5 tackles gone for the Saints. Collins sweeping it away for Goldthorpe. He goes for the 1 point. And over the dead ball line it goes, so back to the 22 for the restart.
Well, I think that's a ridiculous play. Going for 1 point there puts them 5 in front. It brings the play all the way down the other end and a chance of a mistake being made. They can't go for 4 goal, 4-0 up.
Unbelievable. Brian Smith, he would be dead set filthy about that. I mean, all you've got to do is put the ball in the in goal or put one up, give yourself a chance to score a try. Inexperienced by Goldthorpe, who has had a fine match for them.
Simon. This is probably the area where Illawarra, to my way of thinking, lack something, and that is a little bit of zip in the halves area.
They miss Ian Russell and Dale Fritz. As Schiavoletti comes up with a bad mistake there. They need someone creative in there. Michael Neal works the place down, but John Simon, I don't think, has offered them anything apart from a kicking game and a fair defensive game.
Coyne. 5 metres on his own side of the halfway. Saints by 4-0. 7 3/4 minutes to go. Timeout.
And Mark Coyne, I think he's copped one, another one on his nose there. Look at that bugle. Would put Jimmy Durini to shame, that one.
Steve.
Early in the commentary, I don't know if Sterlo will agree with me, but the halves for Illawarra, they're too slow through their hands. They take a couple of steps before they pass the ball. If they're going to get it out to their experienced players, Rod Bull, they've got to get it out there fast.
Well, I do agree that they have to get the football out there, but I also think that they have to try and put something on for both Rodwell and McGregor. At the moment, they've had to do it all themselves. They're running into a lot of defence out there, and when Piccinelli has gone out and done something for them, they've been able to capitalise, and we've seen a couple of near tries as St George getting that roll on now. And we saw Wishart nearly score the try, and it's only because someone was able to work something out wide for them.
Goldthorpe. Good kick by Noel Goldthorpe, finding the line 5 metres out from the Illawarra line. 4-0 in favour of St George. Well, 6 3/4 left. 9-5 the scrums to St George. One of them against the head. Wishart. He's tried his guts out today, Wishart.
Well, the whole Illawarra team haven't they, Ray? They're not out of this game yet as McIndoe takes the ball forward once again. Now, they'll look back on this game if they have lost the game. They'll look back and think that, well, gee, they were unlucky. A couple of, well, I think we've had 2 or 3.
It's been a game of missed opportunities for them. They could have put 14, 16 points on the board. But St George have played very well. 2-on-1 situation down here.
Here's a big run down the ground by Rodwell. Pulled down by Goldthorpe.
Super duper tackle by Goldthorpe.
Let the ball go now. They've got numbers out wide if they can get past Skiffaletti.
Skiffaletti wide for Simon. They've got the numbers on the right. Simon lets it go. It's gone backwards, but has slowed down the attack. Wishart decides to kick and chase right across the ground, and Goldthorpe comes up with it.
Well, slow down the attack. If the pass from John Simon finds a man on the full, I think that they score. They had 4 players out there to 2, and it was just a bad pass. It had to find somebody on the full. Let's have a look at it here. Look at that. There's numbers out there. The defence aren't coming up. Players in no man's land, and David Riolo and Rod Wishart on the outside.
Elliott.
One of your kicks at the end of it, Fatty, from Rod Wishart.
One of the worst ever. But St George now, 5 minutes remaining. They've got to just play like men possessed. They're all tired. All 26 players out there are tired, but with a 4-0 lead, I know what side I'd rather be on. Lift yourselves.
Interesting to note that charge down taken by Potter. Well, it's as if he's a magnet. I was just about to make the point, 5 minutes to go. That means in 155 minutes of football over the last 2 weekends, St George haven't had a try scored against them.
And that's the kind of form you want to go into a grand final against a side like Brisbane, backing you up.
Coyne. Collins. They're on the halfway line. The mighty Saints, They look like they're going to the grand final. Goldthorpe for Elliott. Steve.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you are going to play Brisbane in a grand final, you've got to be able to score 16 to 18 points.
Barnhill. Goldthorpe. Did that touch an Illawarra hand? Scrum will go down just inside the Illawarra 22 line. Noel Goldthorpe, the young number 7 for St George. Simon. McGregor. Well, Illawarra need a big run from McGregor, and he was giving it to them. 32 metres away from their own line. Simon is the dummy half. They call it blindside, but it goes open. Neil finds Piccinelli. Then he finds Big Billy Dunn. Dunn pulled down 8 metres short of the halfway mark. 3.5 minutes to go. Simon across the face. It's picked up by John Cross, and Michael Beattie comes in and makes a smother tackle.
Yeah, Beattie special. Great tackle.
Craig Izzard. Paul McGregor. Brett Rodwell. 5 metres into St George's area. The last minutes coming up here. 3 minutes, in fact, to go. 5 tackles gone for the Steelers. 1 try in the game. Simon across the face. Rodwell inside for Izzard. Back for Simon. Simon shows it. Gets away from 1. Kicks ahead. Was he pulled down late? I'm watching. Here's a chance for McIndoe. McIndoe dives. I think he might be going to give it, is he? No try.
Oh, no. Unbelievable. Another missed opportunity. But he went on the in-goal touch, Judge. He's the go. No, looks, well, we can't tell from that angle. There were hands everywhere.
John Simon, I thought for a moment he might have been pulled down after he kicked it.
No try.
And a good decision there made by the in-goal touch, Judge. They finally got one right.
McIndoe. He made the point that he scored the try, but there wasn't a hand on the ball.
It was a bluff job, wasn't it?
He has gone off early.
He was trying to will a decision there. And again, that has just about summed up the afternoon for the Steelers. 78 minutes gone, 2 minutes to go, and St George, well, they'll get a big kick in at the end of this. Michael Neal will try for a charge down late, but it's all over for them. It's been one of the most gallant defeats you've ever seen out here.
Ball played by Henja. Collins goes away from dummy half again. Formerly with the Canberra club. Tremendous buy for St George. Ivan Henjak. Goldthorpe. And he finds the line just outside the 22. So the last set of 6 coming up for Illawarra. They'll win this scrum, and they've got 75 metres to take the ball down the ground. Simon, they kick on the first. The fullback was standing shallow. Heron leads the race for the ball by 10 metres. Riolo comes down the park. Heron around Riolo, taken just beyond his own 22-metre line.
Well, I would have certainly played out the 5 or 6 tackles before putting in that. That was desperation stakes. I know there's only a couple of minutes remaining, or under a minute now, but as soon as they put that kick in, that was the end of their chances. All the same, Illawarra fans, they can be very happy, very proud of their club this year. Into the semi-finals for the first time, advancing to the final, and it's been a great performance by them.
25 seconds to go. Coyne put down 32 metres out from his own line. St George marching on to the grand final to meet the Brisbane Broncos. Henjak wrapped up. Now there's 5 seconds to go.
Well, he better get up or it'll cost his side a penalty.
Collins puts the ball over the sideline. The siren sounds in the background. And St George, they go to the grand final. Broncos versus Dragons coming up in 7 days. Spare a thought for the Steelers, though. A gallant performance in defeat. And what a year it's been for them. So next Sunday, Brisbane to play St George. Reserve grade will be Norths versus Balmain. And President's Cup St George will play Western Suburbs. Michael Beattie, he's got a dream to go out with a lap of honour. And I'm sure that if they win it, Michael will decide to call it a halt.
This has been a presentation of Fox Sports in partnership with the National Rugby League.